This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by FanQuest, happening June 22nd and 23rd at the Red River College Exchange District campus. Go to fanquestcon.com for tickets and information.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I'm here with my long-suffering co-host, who is back from the dead.
No, not yet.
Not
I'm not going to talk much on this podcast. I'm a little under the weather.
We're also here with artist Matt Kehler. Is that how you would like us to talk about you as an artist?
Sure. Yeah, that's who I am.
Okay,
an
that's
artist.
who you are.
Yeah.
Deep in your soul, that's who you are.
Deep in my soul, in the way deep down in my heart, in my soul, that's who I am, an artist.
So
yes.
A number of years ago, I don't know how long ago this would be. You can confirm or deny this. Justin and I remember we were walking past a booth. I don't know what show it was, and we both stopped and we both were like, "Whoa, these are really good. Whoa, oh no." And and I believe it was your table. So why don't you tell our dear listeners the journey of you? Tell them what kind of art you do, and then we'll go from there.
Have you done a show at the Viscount Gort before?
Yes, that was.
I think that was it.
Was it?
First.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really tiny show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one.
That was it.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this guy?
Also, how you remember those specific details? I can't do it.
I barely remember that. So I'm a digital artist. I started out doing like just traditional pencil and paper, that kind of stuff.
What made the transition? What was the leap to digital for you?
Just seeing other artists do it. Like, at the time, I was looking at DeviantArt quite a bit, and all these people are doing these amazing things with tablets and computers. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I should jump into this. And
I just went for it.
I just went for it.
Huh.
I got a cracked copy of Photoshop.
Photoshop, if you're listening, our licenses are all up to date.
Right. That's yeah. But it was so hard to get into digital because it was like relearning how to draw.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was so frustrated with the process, and it took me too long. Or it took me a long time to get where I am now. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, it's hard to make that transition into digital because they don't have to work digitally. They have to force themselves, or if you're not forced to learn to draw digitally, it's hard to make yourself do it because it's that first couple steps. And for me, are hard.
Yeah, and the big step for me doing any digital elements in my own work was that I couldn't take it wherever I was going.
Right.
Like I love the idea that have Sketchbook will travel. Like wherever you are, you can make work, you can make art, you can capture some of that. And then the idea that, not have to be plugged in, right? Mm-hmm. Only can go as far as my extension cord and only as far as the sun will allow the glare on my screen to allow me to work. So those were hurdles for me too. But
and I guess from that I kind of developed what you see today, like my style. I guess you would call it a style. I don't know what you would call it.
We would call it a style.
It's a very clean style. I always thought it was vector until you told me it wasn't.
Everyone says that. It used to be very grungy and kind of, that was the frustration that I was putting into it. Like, I have to draw these lines and they're not behaving themselves. So I would just kind of do like these broad, quick strokes, and I would pass that off as art. And and eventually over time I would get used to the digital world where I guess I jumped, I can't remember, was it 2 years I jumped into an iPad Pro where I was just going straight onto a tablet, which was really nice because the disconnect between the screen, your hand, and this plastic thing that you're working on
that's tricky.
Was a little bit tricky. And it always had been very tricky. And so I guess, where was it? What am I talking about? Where am I?
That is not vector.
That's not
and
vector.
The development of the style.
Yeah, so it used to be really grungy, and that was the part of the frustration. But eventually, I sort of grew into I grew patience is what I did.
Interesting.
Yeah, how are you getting your smooth lines? Are you using like the brush tool and you just have steady hand and patience? Are you using the pen tool with nodes, or
it's a combination of it's quick strokes, or if I really plan out my pieces, I'll do actual sketches at the start, and then with the thing with the iPad Pro is I can zoom in pretty close and do like really fine detail, like just slow and steady as she goes kind of thing. And so a lot of the things that you see now on my website or in social media, a lot of that is due to a lot of patience and just.
It's funny because people tend to equate the jump to digital with, like, I want to hurry up, I want speed, I want all these other things, but there's this great ability in the digital space to zoom way in and to spend a lot of time with tiny details, and you see that. I've been really interested with all the Spawn 300 like hullabaloo that's going on. It'll be the longest running independent comic. Todd McFarlane has been showing a lot of his process lately, and he's switched from pen and ink to digital, and watching him zoom, like he does these great videos where he zooms in and all those little feathery lines, all those little stuff that are, when you pull it out, it's like 200 lines that turn into this tiny little speck on the page. It's like, for what purpose? But that's just part of his process, is he needs to layer and layer and layer and hatch and layer and put all that stuff in there. And people have this tendency to look at digital art as a way to like take a shortcut or speed it up or whatever, but sometimes it's a way to be more precise.
Getting that precision and all that detail has actually been really kind of cathartic. Like, it's been, when I take a deep dive into something, I get lost in it, and it just feels so great to do what I'm doing what I love. So, yeah.
So is that what keeps you making art? Is that flow, that space where the world disappears?
Yeah, I would. That's exactly what it is.
what are you doing for full-time work right now, and what's the side hustle?
I am currently working as a full-time graphic designer, which I really like my full-time job. It's something that I went to school for here at in Winnipeg. And
Red River program?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Just
started
down the street.
Yep.
Yeah.
I started out. Actually, I went to Winnipeg Tech first for production art. It was a 1-year program. It was really hard to get a job with just a Winnipeg Tech. I think they're called MITT now.
Right.
So I decided I should probably upgrade and go to Red River, and that's been really helpful. But it also burnt me out fairly quickly. Like the program, you went through it.
Yeah, and I think it's just gotten tougher. So
really, that's shocking. So I actually took a year off from graphic design, and I jumped into 3D modeling and animation, which was
like on your own, or
no, I jumped into the programs that they have offered at Red River.
I want to do that. Sounds awesome.
It was cool, and it was really hard to like start from the ground up in year 3.
Yes, yeah.
So, but that was what I needed to sort of recharge or I guess fall back in love with graphic design. I just needed a break. I needed to do something else that was just kind of really different, I guess.
And what's that expression? A change is as good as a rest.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
When sometimes, and I find too, I play with rudimentary 3D programs, and just when I'm turning things around and looking for angles and doing that kind of stuff, it really does get that part of your brain that's looking for the snapshot.
Yeah.
Right? And when it locks in, you're like, there it is. Right?
You use different muscles, which is nice to flex.
We have just received orders to abandon and nuclear destruct all the forests.
Both of you are Red River alumni, and you both made that painful face when he said how hard it was.
Yeah.
So is that just because of the pace of the technology, the pace of the course, the pace, like what? If for our dear listeners who are thinking like, I should jump into a program like that.
I think it's the quantity, the amount of work that they give you.
It's a condensed program. You can get like the equivalent program at another school in the city, but it takes 4 to 5 years, and you can do it at Red River in 2 to 3.
Right.
So it's a lot of
Or
stuff.
the same amount of work, just less time to do it in. Well, that's more indicative of the actual
That's
world.
it. It kind
though.
of it
That's
really instills completing your projects on a deadline and surviving, and yeah, I loved it, but it's tough.
It was tough, and I really thrived, I think. It also helped me to draw better, like just composition wise.
I'm also
color palettes.
rounding out on a theory here that maybe Red River broke you guys, and that's why both of you needed a side hustle. Like a regular job was just not busy enough for you, so you had to then work round the clock.
I remember being astounded that like my workday ended at 5 o'clock, and I just didn't know what to do with
Oh
myself.
my gosh,
Yeah. I like that feeling though.
Whenever I'm on a union, like a film or a theater project that has a union component to it, and 5 o'clock rolls around and there's like the
That's it.
mandated,
Check out.
yeah, it's time for everyone to go. And everyone wants to keep working, but you're just not allowed. I'm always also astounded by that.
I'm fortunate enough that where I work, there's a lot of actual illustration projects that I do get to work on. So
Cool.
I do get to complement my graphic design with
Since you're saying nice things about them, do you want to shout out your place of business?
the Manitoba Teacher Society is where I work. We do work for their magazines.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And you used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
I saw you in one of their magazines.
Yeah.
No.
Huh. Did you draw a mustache on me? Is that where that happened? Was that you?
Did.
Yeah, it was you.
Yes.
Oh.
That was
Wow.
me.
Yeah, there is a lot of illustration components in their
Yep.
publications.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my art director has been, or my editor has been really proud of that fact. Like he likes, when I had the interview for that job, I thought, oh, this will be a graphic design job. They tell you in school, don't use illustration in your portfolio for graphic design jobs. Is that what the...
Yeah, well, they're different industries. So
Yeah.
most graphic design firms don't have a whole lot of illustration. They want to see how creative you can get, like within the graphic design field, right?
Right.
And illustration is kind of its own thing. So it's not too often you get to combine those.
Right. But I would say, listeners out there, if you're applying for a job and you're in graphic design or illustration, like combine the two, have both. Because my editor was like, why didn't you have this? Because the aftermath was like, why didn't you
think
have this in your...
Maybe part of the problem too is every time I saw a portfolio that had strong graphic design and then they included the illustration was quite a bit behind the professionalism of the graphic design.
Right.
Yeah, the graphic design was like up here, like around 6, 7, and then the illustration, while nice, kind of brought the professionalism down because it wasn't
So-
professional
Didn't quite
level
fit.
illustration.
Okay.
Yeah,
yet.
so maybe the advice to take from that is that, dear listener, if you're not as proud of your illustration as you are of your graphic design, don't include it.
It
Yeah.
takes a lot longer to become a professional illustrator than it does to become a professional graphic designer, if that makes sense.
Longer?
Be a little bit more self-aware about
Right.
Yes.
what you have.
Yeah. Like if it's not something that's ready to pop up in a publication, don't
Right.
put it in. And that's what a lot of it was. It was like, it's a nice doodle, but that's not what you should have in your portfolio.
So if you're, so magazines that I can think of, like Wired magazine or National Geographic or
I've been in Wired before. Twice.
Name
Wow.
dropping, right? Or Canada's History magazine,
Ooh, I've been
where
in that.
I've been.
We've all been in
yeah,
that.
we've all been. But the reason I bring these up is that if you are asking yourself, how do I know if my illustrations are, ready for that? Look at those publications and
Right.
look at them. They're spot illustrations. They're not usually illustrative in the way that like a sequential story will be. They're usually like an iconic image related to the topic of the article, right? And that's a different skill set. So I would encourage people to evaluate both of those kinds of things.
I only learned that after I was approached by somebody who was, I guess, editing a magazine, and they're like, we want your illustrations for this article or whatever. And I thought, wow, this is a game changer. I never thought I would be good enough, I guess, to be in something that's published. But I don't know, that's just my own sort of...
No, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are in your career. When someone asks you to be representative of like a big idea that they have too, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
Even if you have to turn it down, even if it isn't the right fit, like there's a There's nothing like someone being like, hey, I picked you.
Hey, you're good.
Right? Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, it's, I think if we get down a level, at a certain point, everyone who ever wanted to make art professionally or otherwise has always wondered, is it good enough? You have a point of you have a place where external validation is lacking. It is the one place where you are not getting constant feedback. So when you get it anywhere, regardless of where you are on your trajectory, you like it.
I always kept my cards pretty close to my chest, and when I first got into doing conventions, I actually went. The first convention I went to as a fan was the Regina Fan Expo, because I had a friend out there who I was visiting, and we went to that, and we just kind of, milled around and looked at what's what. And she's like, "You should do this. You should put your art in the show." I was like, I don't know. I don't really like to put myself out there. And she finally convinced me to do it the next year, and that was actually my first show that I had ever done, was Regina Fan Expo. And
we owe so much to those people that give us that push.
Yeah.
Right.
And so just the idea of, like, I'm a super introverted person, and just being out in public with the thing that I hold most dear, not most dear, but like the thing that I create is, like, I don't know, showing that off to people has always been so scary. Like, I don't know.
And also with art, the reaction is so immediate.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Even
Exactly.
if people aren't saying anything, you can tell if they like it or they don't.
I mean,
like
social
it.
media, you get a like, that means nothing to me,
No.
but the immediate sort of feedback is world changing.
Mm-hmm.
So that first show, I didn't make any money, but just getting the feedback that I got was so encouraging and has kept me going for up until now, I guess.
For me, it's the heel pivot. Whether I'm at a good show or a bad show, there's that moment where someone walks by and they've passed you, right? You're like out of their line of sight now. And then they pivot on their heel and then pause and look back.
Oh, I love that.
Right? That is, I mean, and it has nothing to, because they're not talking to you. They don't even make eye contact with you. They've just been captured by something in your composition that, some piece of you that's there in the work spoke to them there in that moment. And maybe they just walk on, right? They don't necessarily have to, like, that doesn't
That's
matter.
a win still. For me, I count that as a win.
100% win. Like, that is, it's hard to quantify.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain to people who don't know it. But dear listeners, if you do put your work on display, you know exactly what we're talking about. That moment where the piece of your late night, your weird day, your strange, happy accident that led to that place in the work connected to somebody else in a way that you think of all the moving parts in a life that had to equal that one exchange. I just find that so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And just having that first sale, wow, it was incredible. Like, somebody bought this and now they're going to put it on their wall, maybe?
Right.
That's amazing. Like, I never thought.
Dan is laughing at us from behind his producer booth over here.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I hope they're doing that. That's why else would they buy it?
Yeah.
Put it on the wall.
Yeah. Do you remember that first one? Like, do you?
I think it was either a Batman piece or it might have been an original piece. I think it was a raptor with a bunch of feathers.
Oh, I love that one of yours. Yeah, that's great.
That was in that first show. I had that one and 7 other prints, and I think that one did as equally as good as the pop culture items that I had, which was so awesome. Like, just to have your own thing do so well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great feeling.
The man has a full house and he knew it.
Moving on, I've kind of like tried to balance it as much as I can, even do more original stuff, especially for shows. And now it's kind of overtaking. Like, people want to buy deer or lions or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So,
well, and I think that is, we've talked on the show before, but also with a lot of people at different conventions where there are people who go in there with, the sort of slangs, they're character hunters, right?
Yeah.
I'm going here, I'm going to find a Batman piece, my favorite Batman piece at this show, I'm going to buy. Mm-hmm. Then there are other people who give in to that moment of, wow, I like this.
yeah.
I don't even know what it's from, right? Those are the ones that when you catch them, it's your style, it's the the value of the line, the composition, all those incomparable parts that have spoken to them. And I think that those are the really amazing parts. Or if you have a pop culture reference in your work that they don't know, and you're like, oh, are you a such and such fan? I'm like, no, I just really like this.
Yeah, I had a piece. I think it was the I drew a Kira from that Solo movie, and somebody had looked at it and they're like, wow, I really like this. What is this from? I was like, it's from this movie that probably nobody liked, but me. So
yeah, I like Solo too.
And she was like, well, I don't really care what it's from. I just want it. It's nice. I'll buy it. I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like, you're just taking a leap here for something that just looks nice. I don't know.
Right.
It's really cool.
It's all the, judge a book don't judge a good book by its cover. Well, we do judge books by their cover, and like this idea that,
we're the cover artists, so we kind of don't like that as much.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But when someone comes and they're not actually interested in the story associated with the image, they would tear that cover off and stick it on their wall if that's how it was being presented to them. That's I think, that's a win for any graphic designer or artist out there. Now, I have a question to you about being a graphic designer, because I've heard from Justin a lot about this subject, but I would like a new perspective on how your graphic design skills or elements influence or don't influence your work.
My illustration work?
Yeah.
Well, composition for sure. I think that's been a game changer. I try to look at things in a different way, try to draw something in an interesting way to kind of break the mold of like, just here's a dude with a sword. He's standing there in the center, and that's it. There's the guy. I don't know.
So what do you do to break that up? What's the graphic design part of your brain that kicks in and says no?
Well, I do a lot of research. Like, I look at a lot of other artists and see what they're doing, and not just illustration work, but also graphic design work. Like, this poster of shapes looks really interesting to me. I'll save that and look at it later, kind of thing. And so that's kind of a huge part, like just looking at other things in the world. And
do you have a folder on your computer of of that stuff?
Definitely.
Yeah. And
with different composition styles and different, I guess, designer types, color palettes, all that kind of stuff.
What's the word I'm looking for? There is in pre-internet, pre-computer days, ad companies and whatever, they would have rooms that they called the swipe file, and it was just tear out pages of rival magazine compositions or newspapers or international publications, where the art director or the design team would recognize quality, tear it out, put it in a file, so that when they're okay, we're going to do a thing, we're going to use Art Deco as our prompt here, go to the swipe file, pull it out, look at all the different times that we collect stuff that we knew. And it has this, in the internet era, the idea of the swipe file has taken on a new kind of persona, where people now hunt for obvious swipes, like, oh, you just copied that, as opposed to being inspired by that, right? So the swipe file originally was not a way to like, oh, well, we'll just copy this one and then put it in our magazine. It was to look at how a room full of 30 other designers came to this major ad decision, and then they would try to reverse engineer it, sometimes an angle at a time. Like, if this is at a 30-degree angle, like, what was the design choice? Right, because in those days, print was everything. Print was all, right? Yeah. You did a print ad campaign, and people would turn those pages in those magazines. And if it didn't catch you in that half second, and you turned the page, then it was considered a failure, right? And I'm really fascinated by the idea of the things that make me pause, right? And I also collect stuff into a file. So I ask, everyone's got one, right? Not everyone admits to having it, right? Or you have the invisible layers in your Photoshop document. I think a lot of people have those, where you've dropped elements of your swipe file in there, and you're trying to figure out, like, oh, would this work? Is this the colors? Is this how? Where will it all fit? And when I do the stuff related to like I do a lot of propaganda related posters.
Yeah.
So I pull from 5 or 6 different cultures worth of propaganda ads in different eras from the 20s to the 60s. And then, just sort of moving those around. And sometimes they click, and then sometimes they click. And then I'm like, why does this seem so familiar? Like, it's not like that I've borrowed from this and this. Then I realize that someone else has borrowed it.
Yeah.
Like what I've done, someone else did too.
You
Yeah.
reverse engineered that piece without realizing.
Realizing it. And I find that to be a really fascinating thing, because we're all, and so then it's when I have those moments that I'm like, okay, I have to go to the library, right? I have to go to an art gallery. I have to go to a place and see something that I can't search for. I have to discover things new that I'm not looking for. Otherwise, I'm just reducing and simmering on the stove until
Right.
it's just the same thing that everybody's using, right? Do you guys find that? How do you refresh? How do you restart? Get out of the loop, the swipe file loop?
By working on other things. Like
Yeah.
if I'm working on my actual day job as a graphic designer, things will often come to me like, I have a sketchbook full of really loose, really unreadable sketches that nobody could decipher. That, like, oh, this looks like a cool composition. I'll just kind of like scribble something down while I'm working on a magazine layout or something like that. If I'm doing something else, these ideas will come to me that out of nowhere, just kind of, and then I'll do some more research on those ideas later. It's like, well, is this going to work, kind of thing.
We've talked about this phenomenon a fair amount. It comes up a lot. We need a name for it. The moment where, because you're not allowed to work on it, the new idea arrives and you have no
Yes.
choice but to scribble it in the margin somewhere.
And that's all you can think about
Yeah.
for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then your day drags and you're like, oh.
Yeah. If only I could get back to this, right?
And then you get home and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted. I can't do this anymore.
I've got a premature detonation on dome number 2, and I've got an explosion in the main cargo deck. Now, please advise me immediately.
So how do you balance it?
Well, sometimes I just do it at work. No, weekends are a huge thing. Like if I have a free weekend, my partner and I were pretty active, so it's kind of hard to find a spare moment to do that. But there are definitely weekends where I'll take a deep dive and just go.
So when you're working on a piece, do you try to finish it like in a single glut, or are you?
Usually it happens in a week where I'm kind of picking away at it at the start, and I'm like, I don't know if this is really a thing that I'm gonna do, and all of a sudden that thing turns into a sketch, and that sketch turns into like a more refined sketch, and then there's color that's introduced, and like maybe I'll come back to this. It's all kind of like
At that point, are you still
wishy-washy.
working? Are you still analog at that point, or have you gone
I've gone digital by
the
yeah.
color stage? I assume, right?
Yeah, for sure. Usually the analog part is only like just a composition, like a scribble sketch, and then it's very rare that I do like a full actual traditional drawing nowadays, which is sad. I miss that.
Yeah.
I do have a sketchbook. I should.
He's
use it.
looking listfully into the invisible
Oh,
horizon
little
right now.
sketchbook, I miss you.
You gotta make a book is how I got around that. I was really missing like drawing traditionally, but then when Cassie and Tonk came out, we did that. Every book that gets sold, you get a sketch in it as well. So that kind of brought back I had to do sketches all the time as books were selling. And so I've always been, really happy with that decision, and we've kept that tradition going.
I've kept my eye out for like just things that around the city where you could show up and draw. Like there's like I went to this church basement one time and there was just nude models and we were drawing them, just like kind of
A
posing.
typical church basement scenario.
Yeah, exactly right. It was pretty forward thinking.
Did you get a like tattoo and a brand to get into this? It sounds like
No.
Winnipeg has a lot of cult history,
Yeah.
just in case the
Here's your
listener is
robe.
from somewhere else. We
It
have
did feel
lot
like
of
a very
occult
culty
organized-
basement. But I just try to keep my eyes open for something like that and try to build up the courage to take that jump of like, okay,
Right.
let's go drawing tonight. I'm so bad at this, but I can do it.
It's amazing.
it's-
Drawing from life.
Oh yeah, it's it really reignites me. I think that's kind of.
But you don't do it enough. Why
I don't do it enough. Just time. Like I said, my partner and I, we were so busy with life things. You know, fixing up the house. Like summer is all about gardening and going out and doing hiking trips and stuff like that. And that's also, I find inspiration in nature. So
Right.
I do enjoy going out and doing that kind of stuff. And I take that back with me and put it into
And then put it
something
down.
else.
Yeah, I found carrying a sketchbook with me most places is the way. Like I love doing, and it's been years since I've been able to do it, but like an 8-hour, you know, figure drawing where the person just sits and you just, you know, collect the light, collect the color, collect all that stuff. It's been a long time since I've been able to do that, but I love it. And the way that I kind of feed that is that I take sketchbooks with me and I'll just draw from life 30, 40 seconds at a time in my day. Right.
Right.
And then I usually lament by the end of that sketchbook that I didn't take all those little snippets and just pile them into one effort. But yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I have sketchbooks that are kind of like pages that are many pages between sketches. I'm like, what did I do here? Why did I skip all these pages? And then there's this little kind of a skull or whatever and some flowers. And then maybe in the next couple pages, there's like a square. What was going in the square? What was I doing here?
So we've been cleaning out doing the like classic spring cleaning thing and making a big pile of stuff that I'll probably just set on fire. But I have a whole bunch of old sketchbooks, and I noticed that when I was like in my misspent youth, I would jump around almost like I was trying to give space to like that this idea and this idea are not together, so I'm going to give them space within the book. And as I progress, it's literally every year through my sketchbooks, I get less and less space between them until like now I just want to use the next page and I'll sort it all out later. And so it does though feel more like the ramblings of a mad person when you look through it because you haven't given it that space.
I have work notes that are like just a full page of notes that I need to do, like, oh, this is due next week, whatever. But on top of that is just a maze of sketches that I've lost what I'm supposed to do for work the next week. Like I don't, just a bunch of random doodles, and I don't know why I don't just do that in an actual sketchbook, but oh well.
Do you save those?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just got to bind them up yourself now. So what is the trajectory that you see your work taking? You know, like you have a regular job. You sounds like you have a pretty active, fulfilling life, yet somehow you have this compulsion to make work and present work. And what do you hope that'll become?
You know, I'm not really sure at this point. I don't know where my full-time day job will take me. It's kind of scary to think about being a graphic designer in 10 years, 15 years. Like, what does that look like?
Right, especially with all these new algorithms.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I watched stuff from the last big tech conference about that, where it's like design your website, and the algorithm just like they fill in a little questionnaire and then it builds you a thing. Just like it was terrifying.
Yeah, it's scary. Illustration wise, while I'm taking a break this summer from freelance just to deal with family stuff and kind of focus on summer events, and hopefully this fall I'll get back into more freelance. But I really don't know. I've been looking at I don't really know where I'm going. I've been looking at other things, but I can't say for sure.
Justin stumbled on the amazing ability of just collecting all the work that you've done into little art books, right? I say little, but
that has like art books for sure. That has crossed my mind to like, what if I put something together or build something specifically to fit into a book, like a series of a collection of art that kind of all ties together,
right?
Like a comic book, but not like a comic book.
Right. Oh, tell me more about this.
I had this idea of maybe telling a story just through a series of images that could be used as either posters or...
So like a photo essay, but illustration.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
But it's just the motivation to do it. Is
Sure. A lot of the Ashley Wood art collections, they're basically art books that have a loose story that is, T.P. Louise, I think is his wife's name. She comes in after, and then I don't actually... know with firsthand knowledge that this is their creative process. But what it looks to me outside is that he does a series of paintings that are loosely related.
Right.
And then she comes in after and writes a narrative that connects them even more loosely. And then put all together, it feels like a story, but it reads like an art book. Like you flip through it like you would an art book, just looking for inspiration. But if you pause to read the little liner notes that go along with each painting, they reveal a larger story.
There is no more beauty, and there's no more imagination, and there are no frontiers left to conquer. And you know why? Only one reason why, and that is nobody cares.
What's the next show for you?
My next show will be at Fan Quest, June 22nd and 23rd. Nailed it on the first try. I'm really excited for it. It's my first time being at that show. And yeah, be a cool venue to be at. Red River College.
Have you made new work for it?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, new as in it's out there. People have seen it.
Like it's on the internet.
Yeah.
Where they could find it, but
Yeah.
you haven't had it.
Yeah, I'll get some stuff made up for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have. I'm pretty excited. I have to give you and Scott Ford props for introducing me to foil printing. I tried
yeah.
that out and have been super happy with the results, and have
Yeah,
a
it's
whole
amazing.
slew of things planned to do with it now. And
Yeah.
it's mostly Scott's fault, but also yours as well.
Yeah, it's interesting the scaffold that technology has provided visual art. You know, like there was a time where if you wanted to do foil, you had to hand glue,
Put it
and
all together
brush
yourself. Yeah.
thin metal foil over stuff. And now technology says, no, just give us this mask and we'll produce it for
Yeah.
you out of a $250,000 machine
For a price.
for a price. Yeah. Do you guys think that that's a good direction that art has taken, or discuss?
I think it's opened up a lot of options for me. Like I've tried screen printing and it's really cool, but it's a lot of work. And I don't like putting in a lot of work.
But you just told us how patient and like careful you are and meticulous with
True.
your...
When it's in my own home and I have the things already that I need for it, like
Right.
I don't know, collecting a rig or the parts for a rig for a screen printing operation.
Very
is-
daunting to me
is-
also, yeah.
I've looked into it and I don't know if I even have the space for something like that.
Yeah.
Of course, I could rent space at Martha Street, but
Yeah.
again, the time to find it.
And I've been looking
go
at
out there.
short run screen print like options also in other cities and other places. And there are screen print shops that do that exact thing.
Yeah.
But again, and I don't know if it's just because it's so outside of my direct experience. I mean, I've done screen printing before in my, like when I was a teenager, I used to screen print all kinds of stuff, but
Yeah.
even that has come so far beyond that I find it like a very esoteric field, and not everyone is really interested.
In the higher end.
Yeah. So you would put in this ton of work and a huge amount of effort, and it would be produced on like very specific paper with very specific hand pulled inks.
That's the
and then
thing.
the consumer says, well, this other one over here, which looks exactly the same, is only $20.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
That's my big hang up too.
Yeah,
Is like I love the look of screen printed work and the amount of effort. Like I'm familiar, but like most consumers don't know the difference between that and it's printed on like a thick linen paper, right?
Right.
They can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big hurdle.
And then it's, I'm very interested in the way that technology has allowed for a democratization of art, right? That you can have a full color, really great piece of work
Right.
that was done by the person that sold it to you, and it only costs you $20. Like to me, that's amazing. Right. There was a time in human history where if you wanted a painting, you had to be a patron and you had to pay that person a living wage long enough for
Yeah.
them to paint an oil painting of you or whatever you chose. And now we can just go out and find stuff and buy it. And,
Yeah.
for good or ill, it's just how it is. Would you, when you do freelance, are you very selective? It sounds like you don't do very much.
I am very selective. If it's a project that I really think has merit to me, or if it's a person that I've worked with before that I really like working with, I'll do that. But I definitely look into who I'm working with beforehand before I accept any jobs.
What shuts you down? What's the big no?
Well, first, if they can pay me, that's a big one, I would say.
Good advice to your listener.
Also, content matter. Like if it's something that's really outside of what I might believe in, or that kind of stuff. Like I'm not gonna sell my soul for something that's, You
get a lot of. Does that come up?
Here and there, like yeah. It's shocking.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I want these
Yeah.
details now. But
Do you have any stories like that where, like, just morally you're like, I can't work on this?
I guess I do. I mean, the one that comes immediately to mind is this vape company
Oh,
wanted me
yeah.
to do a regular comic strip for them, and they were telling me like, yeah, we're going to get 1 million hits a month on this website. Do you want to, do stuff for me? And I was like, well, as
Do you think that might have been exaggerated traffic?
maybe
Like a little local vape shop?
Yeah.
in Winnipeg?
Whether it's exaggerated or not, let's all things being equal, let's imagine it was true. Let's imagine all the promises were true.
1 million
that they
hits.
could pay you, that you would get great exposure, that all those things were in fact true. It came down to the fact that, as a father of 2 children and as an educator of, literally 1,000 kids, the idea that we should encourage people to smoke regularly did not sit well with my, personal.
But it's watermelon flavored. So.
Right? In one of the most unregulated industries related to health, like possibly on the planet, right? So, if you vape or smoke, that is absolutely your choice.
Sure.
But it's also my choice whether I want to labor for a company that then tells you that it's cool.
I had one. Someone had asked me if I could do a logo or an illustration for some kind of gun club or something. I was like, This was early on in my freelance, and it's kind of was like the first time I was like, do I want to do something gun related for this group of people, for this club or whatever? I kind of hummed and hawed about it. It's like, and I couldn't pull the trigger. It was just too much. Like there was so much going on in the world at that time, and I was like, this doesn't, deep down in my heart, I can't possibly do this. Like I can't promote this. And then it's also carried on to what I do personally. Like I look at, I don't know, I guess comic books, if I'm doing a particular character or something, like there are certain characters I would steer away from. Like I guess Punisher would be one. I never liked him to begin with, but a character of equal violence I would probably never do something like that, just because I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me.
Right. Because it's like if we labor on it, it's like we're endorsing it. Right. But there's also a lesson in there, I think, for anyone doing design work or illustration, that if you don't feel like you can connect really with the material, you're probably the wrong person for the job anyway, even if it paid well, even if it was just like, whatever, like a sweater company, and you're like, man, I guess it seems like a good paycheck.
Right.
You probably shouldn't do it if you're not really passionate. If those gun club guys found someone who were really into guns that also was a graphic designer, their logo turns out a lot better than someone who doesn't really want to do it.
Sure.
Those people are out there.
And they are out there.
Yeah. And they have guns.
Feel a hefty jolt?
I want a front row seat when these babies go.
I'll bet you do.
At the beginning of my convention career, I guess you would call it, the first couple of years into it, I thought, oh, wow, I'm actually making some money now. Like this sort of, the idea of selling art was kind of at the forefront. And I thought, well, what if I did art that was popular? Like the thing that's in people's minds in the moment, like, oh, the next Marvel movie, I'll do something for that.
How did that work out?
And it didn't. Like I tried, like I did a couple pieces where I thought,
never worked.
These are going to sell, and sure they did sell, but I didn't like doing those pieces. Like I didn't like the characters. And so I just decided I'm going to do what I want to do. I want to draw dinosaurs. I want to draw Star Wars things. Like I just want to do the things that I love, and I kind of stuck with that since then. So
that's usually how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you try to do something just for the money, it doesn't work.
And
I mean, you might get some money, but then you spent that money, and now you have the hassle of being known for this work that you didn't.
And even if I
really wanna do.
made the money, like, I'm in a position where I don't, like, doing cons and illustration on the side is kind of a hobby at this point.
Yeah, right, because you have a creatively fulfilling regular job.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't really need to do this. Like, I respect the people who do conventions all year round and that's their bread and butter. And if they can tap into those pop culture things and make their money that way, then go ahead. Like, absolutely, for sure. Do what you need to do to feed yourself, kind of thing. Or, well, that sounds a little
One
bit...
jump ahead of the breadline, as we were talking about earlier, right? Yeah, right. But if it's not in you to do, or if it erodes at you to do it, then perhaps you will regret it. Yeah. Interesting. How about you? Have you ever been directly approached to something that was so off-brand you just had to say no? I mean, you get a lot of offers for things.
Probably dog portraits.
Dog portraits is a no, hard
Is
no.
a no. Actually,
if anyone out there
That kinda
who's
sounds like
listening,
fun, though.
yeah, who really wants a dog portrait though, Chris Simonite here in Winnipeg loves doing. He does oil paintings. He does really realistic oil paintings. He told me, I love doing people's pet portraits. They're super fun, and they always love them. So listen,
You get to meet a puppy?
yeah,
you get to meet
we
them?
can. I can hook you up if you really need a portrait, but chasing artwork's not your guy.
Oh, cute.
So I think at this point in my career, like I've been a graphic designer. I like graphic design. I've done my fair share of logos, and I still like doing logos. But I feel like that's a bit behind me now, and I'm in my own little field now, and I'm good at what I do. And every so often, I have somebody come up to me at a convention, and they'll just like, "Oh, you're a graphic designer? You can do my logo."
Yes, right.
It's like, it's going to be like a superhero logo. So it'll be fun. It'll be like an illustration thing. And I'm like, I'm not really a graphic designer. And like when I do, like I'm really expensive. And like, oh, well, like it's like illustration. So you'll like it. And that conversation, I don't like that one. So I don't like
I find the quickest way to get out of those conversations is give them a really steep price.
That's usually what happens. Yeah, I quote like my day rate and that's
double day rate plus.
Just if you want
just
them to
be
go
safe.
away. But what if they say, see, the danger of just giving the price is if some people, price is no object. I've been in that position where I'm like, oh yeah, it's this exorbitant fee. And they're like, okay, great, I'll send you the thing. And then you're like, oh no, right? Because the only barrier in your mind was that they, it's not worth that, but they just want what they want, how they want it, and then you're willing to pay for it, and that's not a good thing either. I was going to ask something related to that, and then it evaporated. Oh, I was going to mention that. So we're all talking about this part that happens in the freelance world where people come to us, sometimes with job offers, or we're looking for job offers, or we're submitting work places or what have you. I was just in Montreal at YaFest, is like a young adult literary festival, and there were 22 of us that were invited as guests, and so I was with 21 other young adult authors, all of whom have agents that handle all of that stuff, right? And to be in these conversations where I'm saying like, oh yeah, I'm pitching this thing, and oh, I'm pitching that in comics, and oh, I did this. And just the blank stares of, wait, you're doing what? You're doing that? Why do you do that? Isn't that your agent's job? Right? I was like, oh, well, no, I don't have an agent. And they're like, well, why not? I don't want to do any of that stuff.
Oh, man.
Right? And it's just this whole other world, right? Like, illustration is a very different. It just was very clear to me that while I've done some stuff in the young adult book world, right, I am very much in this liminal place between the two, where yes, I have relationships with some publishers, and I have some prose stuff that's being reviewed right now, but I'm not in a place where an agent could come in and say, from your prose, I could make this.
Right.
And most agents are in a position where they want a piece of anything you've arranged. So they might go hunting for you and find you a job, but if you also find a job, that agent is entitled to a piece of that. That's how that whole thing works. And so to me, that's as someone who writes horror stuff and kids stuff and, you know, teen stuff, and it works a little bit in film and a little bit like where I've done all that labor. It's been really hard to imagine that I would let someone else take 15% of all of that. But then I found a few of those people who secretly whispered to me that they have more than one agent.
Wow.
For different kinds of projects. So they're like, yeah, you know, I'm selling some stuff in the adult market. I have a different agent than I have for the teen market, than I have for the kids, for the book market. And I don't say that to other people. I just say my agent as if I only have one. But the truth is, the specialization has resulted in this sort of world where they have all these different people who are out there shaking the trees for them in order to keep it going. And that was a revelation to me. I was like, wait, I can have one person for comic stuff, one person for prose stuff, one person for illustration stuff. That could be kind of wild. But then we'd miss out on all those great awkward conversations of please do my logo.
I don't think you guys understand what this means. Please don't blow up the domes.
It's 5 years later. Where are you?
5 years later. From now?
Yeah.
5 years later. That's a bit too far to see into the future, I think.
Right. So now
5
you can just
years.
make it up. It's great.
Okay. I'm on Mars.
I hope so. I hope we're on Mars.
I'm looking for a colony that's been lost to time.
Are you armed?
I'm not armed.
Is it a peaceful mission?
I'm a pacifist. I have a little droid with me. His name is, or its name is, it's not, it has no gender. Its name is Table. Table 2D2. And we're just, you know, shooting the breeze.
In my version of this story, you see a flag flapping at the
Flapping?
colony that you see. Yeah, it's like they've got a little wind machine because that's what they do. And the logo is the logo of that gun club that you turned down.
Oh, no.
That's your future. No, but seriously, where do you think, like you want to stay with?
I want to stay doing some kind of like steady graphic design work. I really like that. I think that's a really good spot for me. Illustration wise, I don't know, maybe I've only gone as far as Regina for conventions. I would like to probably branch out like as far as I can.
So if you
West Coast, East Coast.
You did this. This is an exact trajectory for you, where you had the day job which you liked, and then you started doing some stuff on the side, and then you started going to further and further away shows. If you, knowing what you know now, if you wanted to tell Matt what's the best furthest away show to attend, what would you recommend, and for what reason?
The Toronto Fan Expo in August is Canada's biggest convention. And like out of all the conventions I do, that Toronto show is like up there with New York and San Diego.
Wow.
Like as far as like the quality of like the convention, the fan attendance, the guests, like our Toronto Fan Expo is pretty extraordinary. Yeah. So if you do that, like you'd be able to survive at like New York or San Diego.
And then the leap beyond that, for just hearing what you've said about magazine illustrations or illustration work, or wanting to be more selective with your freelance clients, I would recommend New York Comic Con then also.
New York Comic Con is a very, very expensive show, but it's also like it's a good show, and then we always come back with so much freelance opportunities from it.
Yeah.
So that's like, not only is it a great convention, it's the biggest convention for projects.
Right.
It's part of the culture of that show is that art directors come there looking for potential
That's
people
where you
to work
got
with.
Baby Metal. That's where I got Marvel. It's
Wow.
where,
Yeah.
Cool.
It's where a lot of things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
I think.
Time. Yeah. Okay. Just checking.
Oh.
We cut all this stuff out. He edits around
okay.
our divergences, so don't worry.
okay.
It'll seem seamless, and we'll seem so smart.
Feels like it's long, but it's good.
Yeah.
I feel good.
I feel good. Is there anything that we should push to make you sound super wise and great at the end?
Oh boy, I'm not a very wise. No, I can't. I don't have any like world-changing quotes or anything. But if you want to visit my website, is that what
Sure.
we're doing here now?
Let's
Or,
Yes, tell us where people can find your stuff.
You can find my stuff at mattkehlerart.com. Kehler, that's how you say it if you see me in the wild.
How do you spell it if they're trying to look it up?
Kehler. It's A, like EH, like A.
Like quintessentially Canadian.
Cat.
Yes.
A Canada.
Now, okay, so the last thing I'm going to ask you is for our dear listeners' sake. What is a daily piece of advice that you return to as a graphic designer or illustrator?
Daily piece of advice.
What's the thing? Do you have a mantra?
Be open to new experience, like new artwork, new experiences. Just let it all soak in, like soak up as much as you can, because you might learn something.
That's about as profound as it's ever been. This has been Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made, and Justin is now going to go take 2 Advil and fall asleep. The rest of us are going to get back to our workday. I encourage you to join the fight and make comments.